step 5 is to challenge your beliefs here on getting honest with yourself out of the 6 steps. And I will tell you, step 5 is an absolute beast. I know I said step 3 was tough because you have to get raw with yourself and honest, and that's like cutting open a patient for surgery. But step 5 challenges generations of thinking, possibly your entire life. Your entire programming has been set on this belief, and you might not know if it's yours or not. This is something that I've routinely had the opportunity to practice throughout life, and in the last 2 years, I've been able to start documenting. Throughout my life, I've been challenged and faced with different beliefs that I've actually, where is that coming from? Why do I believe that? And this one's tough. This one's tough to talk to other people about because truthfully, beliefs become like pillars we stand on in life, kind of like foundations, but we'll say there's a foundation of the principles of who we are and that we live by, whether they're ours or somebody else's, we've adopted them. Those are our foundation. But our beliefs to me are like pillars that we stand on. That's the framing of the house, if you will. And this one's tough because they belong to us. Our beliefs become things that we own. And when those beliefs don't necessarily come from us or they risk being challenged, those things get squirrely. And I know this firsthand. And I know that it's tough to even talk about beliefs because they feel like sacred things we're not supposed to touch, we're not supposed to mess with, and we're not supposed to question. It's like they're like government. Where do you come from? I don't even know who you are. But your beliefs need to be challenged. And I don't just mean your religious beliefs or your political beliefs. Like, those are obviously big ones, and you should do some challenging there. No doubt. But I'm talking about other beliefs too. I'm not artistic. That was a belief I had about myself forever. I'm not creative. And I believed that. I was not a creative person. I wasn't an artistic person. I believed that for years. And then one day I started realizing, you know, I'm pretty creative. Like, I come up with some pretty cool stuff. Hey, I made that. That was pretty nice. Especially these older years. I craft now. You would have told me in early life I was going to be crafting. I'm making some garlands for baby shower right now. They look great. I'm going to be honest. They look great. I could sell them. If people were willing to pay outrageous amounts of money for my time, my quirkiness, and my OCD, I could sell them. I know nobody will, so moving on. But I've had to challenge that belief in the last 2 years that I'm not creative or I'm not artistic. Where did that come from? You have to start challenging these beliefs about who you are and what makes you up as a person. And maybe it's something simple like, I'm not artistic. Maybe it's something like, I'm not lovable. Maybe it's something like, I'm not attractive. And I'm going to take a tiny segue, and I know this is going to get lengthy if I do this, but I'm going to. What is attractive does not have to be physically appealing. And what is physically appealing is subjective. So be careful around the concept of attraction. Attraction does not have to be, it's not a set standard. What's physically appealing might be somewhat easy to debate. It might say there's a baseline of what we find attractive, but not even still. See, I don't know, because some jobs that might be attractive to you might not be attractive to me. If we're looking at people, what you find attractive might not be attractive to me. So remember, what a physical appearance of a thing does not equal attractiveness, and attractiveness does not equal physical appeal, okay? So let's just get that out of the way. So when you're challenging these beliefs about yourself, whatever they are, start asking these questions. Do I know this or do I believe this? Knowing something and believing something are two different things, and that is the truth. I know the sun rises every single day. I know that because I've seen repeated proof every single day that the sun still comes back up. It changes time, but I know that it comes up. And the day that it doesn't, I will start checking that belief. So when I know something, I would say that is a belief I have because of the experience that I've experienced and the outcome that has produced a consistent result over time. So I know it and I believe it. But when you believe something, but you don't actually know it, that one gets tricky. And that's really what step 5 is designed around. When you realize that a belief is not something you actually know, it's been somewhat downloaded or uploaded into your programming, and you've never really had time to interact with it. You just went off, this is a basic pillar, and I'm taking this information and moving forward. This is the space, and it is a tricky one, and it's a tough one, because I do believe that our mental state can somewhat suffer if we start challenging these, but I encourage you to push through that. I encourage you to say, hey, I'm safe, I'm good, I'm just looking at this. There's nothing harmful in my way. It's just me and my AI talking about this, and we're gonna document it, and I'm gonna come back to it. And over time, if you start seeing little bits of information, little breadcrumbs along the way that make you say, the more I look into that belief, the less I really know about it. That's the ticket. That's where you need to say, this is interesting. And that's where you can really start shaping and changing the pillars that you set your foundation on. And when you challenge those pillars, it's okay, your house isn't gonna crumble, because there's a lot of other pillars. And really, that's why I love the web analogy for a foundation versus like, hey, I built this cement thing in the ground. Great for houses, wonderful for houses. Bad for mindsets and consciousness, because if that bottom is taken out, the whole thing crumbles underneath it like a demolition. So that's why if we have a web and all these anchor points, if one thing changes, it's okay. We're going to spin a new web and we're going to release that other one. It is a floating and mercurial consciousness, and we need to have that, because as information comes into our space and leaves our space, we can't have our whole consciousness crumble because of that. So step 5 is where you're tuning in. You're checking for those repeated beliefs that come up, even though they're pretty unsubstantiated at that point, especially the beliefs that are really negative about you. Chances are those were laid from a programming that were never yours. Those were just uploaded and you took them and you went. So good luck on step 5. If you make it to step 6, which is the next process, I would love to see you there.